Okay, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to our very first video discussion of the chapter number 5, focusing on the integumentary system or the skin. So let us start. Okay, we have a couple of objectives in finishing this chapter. First of all, you will learn the importance of the integumentary system as well as its components. You will be able to describe the different layers of the skin and explain the basis for different skin colors or where these different skin colors originate. You will be able to describe also the structure and function of the epidermal derivatives such as your skin glands, nails, and hair. And at the end of the chapter, we will be talking about different types of skin disorders. So let us first start with the functions of integumentary system. The very first one is protection. Okay, your skin is protecting your body, and it serves as the very first line of defense against the outer or external environment. So your skin protects by number one, using chemical barriers such as your sebum. So your sebum or the oils that are secreted by the skin is actually containing antibacterial ability or nature. So they prevent the thriving of pathogens and other microorganisms or germs on the surface of the skin. So sebum is also quite helpful in preventing diseases. Okay? Another one is the human defensin. Coming from its name, defensin, it means that it is used as a defense mechanism. Okay? So, saan ba nanggaling itong mga defensin? No? They are actually cationic. When we say cationic, positively charged, okay, they are cationic antimicrobial peptides. Okay? So, 'di ba, when we say peptides, these are proteins. Therefore, defensins are antimicrobial proteins. Okay? They are essential or one of the essential elements of the innate immunity. Meaning, yung since birth, no, nandyan na sa iyo. Innate immunity. And defensins are also factors of or factors molecules in host defense, mainly because they are against infection. Okay? So, ginagamit sila as a defense against infection, especially in our skin because of their broad spectrum of antimicrobial activity. So, medyo malawak yung range no ng ability ng defensins as an antimicrobial protein. Okay? So, coming from its name, defense, no, for defense against microbes. Another one, we have the cathelicidins. So, this one. When we say cathelicidins, this is another host defense peptide. So, ganun din. Your cathelicidins are also made of proteins. And ang main function lang nila class is they eliminate pathogenic microbes, no, yung microbes that causes diseases. So, how do they do that? They modulate the host immune response. So, they are the ones controlling how our immune system will respond in a uh, certain infection. Okay? And your cathelicidins also promote wound healing. So, para rin sila sa wound healing. Okay, the last one is, or the second to the last is your acid mantle. So, on the surface of our skin class, you will, a fine, slightly acidic film is actually present. Okay, yan siya ang acid mantle. Kaya nga acid because it is an acidic film found on the surface of the human skin. So, para saan itong acid mantle? Mantle na when we say mantle, parang covering, 'di ba? So it means that your acid mantle is serving as a barrier against different microbes such as bacteria, viruses, and other contaminants. So, paano niya ginagawa yon? Because some bacteria and viruses are not able to survive, no, in acidic environment. So, that's the function of the acid mantle. The fourth one is the UV shield of melanin. So, the melanin is found in our skin and it protects us against UV rays, okay? So, or ultraviolet light. So, yan yung mga chemical barriers na makikita sa skin protecting our body, okay? Another one, no, that in the skin that can act as barrier are the physical barriers. So, example natin dito, the hardened keratinized and lipid-rich surface. So, keratinized meaning for structure, making our skin strong, no? And biological barriers such as your Langerhans cells, macrophages, and DNA. Yung Langerhans cells natin, this is actually dendritic cells, no, from the epidermis. When you say dendritic, they are against pathogens. So, our Langerhans cells, they are actually the outermost guard of our immune system, especially in the cutaneous level. So, cutaneous level, skin. And when your Langerhans cells are active, they are able to induce, no, the first reaction against pathogens encountered on the skin. So, sila yung pinakaunang nagre-react sa mga pathogens na dadapo sa skin ng isang human. So, Langerhans cells mainly for immunization against, and also the first line of defense in the surface of the skin. So, yan siya. Macrophages, these are just cells that are able to engulf pathogens or microbes. Okay? So, yan ang protection. Our skin protects us by using two or are three types of defenses. The first one is the chemical barrier, the second one is the physical barrier, and the third one using the biological barriers. Okay, another function of the integumentary system is the body temperature regulation. So in this one, the skin vasculature and sweat glands regulated by the nervous system play an important role in maintaining body temperature homeostasis. Again, the body must maintain homeostasis in order for it to survive, right? And one of the key factors that is involved in homeostasis of the body is the body temperature. So, the skin plays a really huge role in maintaining our body temperature, mainly through vasoconstriction of the blood vessels and vasodilation also of the blood vessels. So, ano ba ang nangyayari dito? The blood vessels are able to constrict, right? So, kapag lumiit ang diameter ng blood vessels, that is what you call vasoconstriction. When there is vasoconstriction, class, ang nangyayari dyan, the flow of blood becomes slow, right? Kasi nga, nagko-constrict yung blood vessels. So, hindi mabilis yung daloy ng dugo. Okay? And when vasoconstriction happens, we are able to maintain our body temperature through reducing heat loss. So, hindi masyado. Kapag mahina yung flow of blood, we are reducing heat loss due to vasoconstriction. And then, how about vasodilation? So, coming from the word dilate, no, that means na ang diameter ng blood vessels is lumalawak, no, nagiging wide, no, it is dilating. So, vasodilation. Now, the result of vasodilation, when your blood vessels increase in diameter, that means that it fastens, no, or pinapabilis niya yung flow ng blood. And what happens here is that the increase in blood flow promotes heat release. So you're releasing heat and at the same time bumababa yung body temperature. So, mainly, ang vasodilation natin when you do exercise, kapag madami kang activity na ginagawa, ayan, so nagkakaroon ng vasodilation in which it is promoting heat release. So, ayan, those two, the vasoconstriction or the constriction of the blood vessel and the dilation of the blood vessels are both controlled by the nervous system. Okay, so with the help of the nervous system, your skin or integumentary system is able to help in body regulation or body temperature regulation. The third function is you have cutaneous sensation. When we talk about cutaneous sensation, this is talking about the skin. No? That means that the skin is actually containing many sensory receptors that respond to temperature, touch, pressure, and pain stimuli. So, saan nakikita karamihan ng sensory receptors natin? Sensory receptors, these are receptors detecting changes in the environment or pwede ring detective or detecting any pressure and pain to the touch, no? So, these sensory receptors can be found in the whole surface or in the layers of the integumentary system. So, ano ba yung different types ng sensation natin? Kapag sinabi mong, for example, thermal sensation, that means that the sensation is talking about warm and cool, no? Warm surface, cool surface. So, yan ang thermal sensation. How about we are talking about tactile sensations? So, ang tactile sensations natin, nandyan na yung touch, yung pressure, vibrations, and pwede ring tickling. Yan siya. So, another type of sensation are the tactile sensations such as touch, pressure, vibration, and tickling. Meron pang isang type ng sensation which is siguro yung pinaka-ayaw ng lahat, the pain sensation. So, whenever there is a pain sensation, your body is telling your brain that this sensation is an indication of impending or actual tissue damage. Kaya nga umiiwas tayo sa masasakit na bagay kasi your nervous system is reading the sensation as tissue damage. So, pwedeng ma-damage yung tissue mo, kaya iniiwasan mo. So, those are the three types of sensations. You have the thermal, the tactile, and the pain sensations. And all of those sensations are coming from the cutaneous level or on the cutaneous sensory receptors present on our skin. Next, metabolic functions. So in here, vitamin D is synthesized from cholesterol by epidermal cells. So kapag na-expose ka sa sunlight, and you have vitamin D, ang ginagawa dyan, or you have cholesterol in your body, okay, so these cholesterols are being converted into vitamin D. So, this happens only kapag nagpapakita ka sa sunlight. So, ang advice dyan na time kung saan pwede kang kumuha ng sunlight is siguro from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Yan siya. Magandang time for basking in under the sun, okay, to produce more vitamin D. So, your skin cells also play a role in some chemical conversions. Okay? Number 5, your skin or the integumentary system serves as a blood reservoir or reservoir. Okay? So, the extensive vascular supply of the dermis allows the skin to act as a blood reservoir. So, ang mga blood capillaries kasi natin class or blood vessels are present on the dermis layer, no? We have the outer layer epidermis and below it is the dermis layer. So, ang mga blood capillaries are present in the dermis. So, since napakaraming blood vessels such as capillaries dito sa dermis ninyo in the whole part of the body na may skin, no? Your skin is a big part in contributing as a reservoir for blood. So, para silang storage na rin for blood. Okay? Number 6, function, excretion. So, the sweat, no, it is considered sometimes as an excretory substance. When we say excretory substance, these are substances containing waste, no, from the body. So, yung ating sweat also contains small amounts of nitrogenous wastes and plays a minor role in excretion. So, kapag ang sinisecrete ng katawan or kapag ang nire-release ng body mo is something that is important and is not a waste such as your hormones, okay? Ito sila ang tawag secretion. But if ang nire-release is something that is a waste, no, waste product, ang ginagamit na term is excretion. So, since sweat contains a little bit of waste, ang ginamit dito na term is excretion. So, your integumentary system excretes nitrogenous waste in the form of sweat. Okay? So, those are the 6 functions pala of our integumentary system. Now, what are the components of the integumentary system? Ito yung kanyang mga major parts. We have number 1, the skin itself. Number 2, the hair, no? Hair that are found all over our body, no, in different parts. Then we have different types of skin glands. We have 3 types of skin glands, by the way. You have the sebaceous gland for secreting sebum, okay, or oil, no, throughout the skin. You also have your sudoriferous for sweat glands, and also you have ceruminous. Okay, when you say ceruminous, this is for production of earwax. So, or cerumen, no? Cerumen is the earwax. So, makikita yan sa inside your ears. And then finally, we have the nails. So, those are the 4 components. Let's take up first the structure of the skin. So, the skin, or also known as integument, is composed of 2 discrete tissue layers. So, an outer epidermis, the one that is found on the surface, and a deeper dermis that is resting on the subcutaneous tissue, the hypodermis. Okay, so you have epidermis, and then you have the dermis. Okay, now let's see. Let's take up first the epidermis. Your epidermis is an avascular. When we say avascular, walang blood vessels na makikita sa epidermis. Okay? Well, kasi pag ang term na vascular or vascularized, that means that the layer contains blood vessels, meaning may supply ng dugo doon sa layer na yon. So, dito, ang epidermis natin, wala siyang supply ng blood kasi nga avascular siya. Walang blood vessels doon. So, if you try to see here, dito sa upper portion, 'di ba? Wala siyang blood vessels. So this means na walang walang supply ng blood. Okay? That's why, for example, kapag nagaras ka, no, na-scratch ka, for example, sometimes yung scratch na yun, kahit na masakit siya, it's not bleeding. So that means that the wound or the scratch only damage the epidermis layer of your skin. Kasi walang lumabas na dugo. Once na may lumabas na dugo sa wound mo, that means that the wound is deeper than the epidermis layer. Pwedeng nakaabot na siya sa hypodermis. Okay? So again, epidermis, avascular, keratinized. So marami siyang keratin. In the deepest epidermal layers are you have melanocytes, Merkel cells, and Langerhans cells. So, sa pinakailalim daw ng epidermis, tingnan natin dito. Okay, so this is the epidermis. At the lower parts, you will have the melanocytes. Melanocytes are the cells that produce the pigment melanin for producing our color. And then, you also have your Merkel cells. So, ang Merkel cells natin, ano lang siya, for detection of different touch sensations. So, para siyang sensory din, sensory receptor. It is identifying what type of sensation is happening on the surface of the skin. And then Langerhans cells for defense also. So from deep to superficial, the strata or layers of the epidermis are divided into 5. Number 1, you have the basal or basale. You have the spinosum, granulosum, lucidum, and corneum. The stratum lucidum, as you can see here, sa baba ng stratum corneum is the stratum lucidum. It is absent in a thin skin. So, kapag maninipis na balat ng katawan, for example, the sensitive layers or the sensitive parts of your body or yung mga maninipis ang skin, wala silang stratum lucidum. So, alisin mo yan. Okay? For example, sa eyelids, no? Yung eyelids ninyo manipis. So, ang eyelids natin, it does not contain the layer stratum lucidum. Stratum corneum naman is the outermost layer of dead cells. Ito yung nasa taas. Okay? So, its keratin component prevents loss and entry of water and resists entry of pathogens and chemicals. So, dito makikita ang mga dead cells. Okay? Tapos, it is rich in keratin that helps our body from dehydration, no? Because it prevents the loss and entry of water, and also the dead or the layer of dead cells helps in preventing the entrance of pathogens and other chemicals inside our skin. Okay. Next, you have the stratum germinativum. So, this is the innermost layer where mitosis takes place. So, ang germinativum, yan na siya yung nasa dito, stratum granulosum, sa spinosum, at sa stratum basale. Okay? Or basal. Basal stratum. So, dito nagtitake place yung mitosis. Siyempre, kung merong mga dead cells sa taas, dapat everyday mapalitan yung mga napipil off na dead cells. Okay, so dapat every second nagpo-produce ng bagong layer of cells, and you can do that by using mitosis. And ang mitosis nangyayari sa pinaka lower strata or layer. Okay, when we say strata, that means layer. So, the new cells produced in the stratum germinativum, they produce keratin and they die as they are pushed toward the surface. So, kapag bata pa sila, coming from the bottom or the lowest part, new cells are produced. They produce keratin. After that, they die and they are pushed to the surface. So, ang skin natin, class, is always changing. Okay? Every day, may mga bagong skin cells na napoproduce. Your defensians are antimicrobial peptides produced when the skin is injured. So, usually, nilalabas lang yung defensians na protein antimicrobials kapag na-injure ang surface ng skin. Vitamin D is formed from cholesterol on exposure to UV rays of sunlight. So, kailangan ma-expose muna tayo sa sunlight bago ma-convert ang cholesterol natin sa vitamin D. Kaya nga yung mga baby, minsan kung nakita ninyo, pinapaarawan sila, okay, early in the morning to produce more vitamin D. Next, let's go to the dermis. So, when we say dermis, it is made up of fibrous connective tissue containing collagen and elastic fibers. So, collagen provides the strength of the dermis, and the elastin protein provides for elasticity. Para kahit anong pressure ang ma-receive ng skin ninyo, it will contract and it will return to its original uh, to its normal state or original shape. Yan siya for elasticity. The capillaries in the papillary layer nourish the stratum germinativum. So ang papillary layer natin, class, is this one. Okay? Ang dermis ninyo nahati siya sa dalawang layer, sa papillary layer at sa reticular layer. Yung papillary layer natin, kung makita ninyo, meron siyang mga maliliit na outgrowth. Ulitin natin. Sana yun? Para siyang merong mga maliliit na daliri, no? Kaya nga tinawag siyang papillary layer because the papillary stands for finger-like. Okay? Meron siyang mga outgrowth, no? Finger-like outgrowths that extend towards the epidermis. Okay? So, sabi dyan, capillaries in the papillary layer nourish the stratum germinativum. So, diba, ang stratum germinativum natin, dyan nangyayari yung division of skin cells or mitosis. So, para magkaroon ng new skin cells, no, para makaproduce, no, ng new skin cells, dapat meron siyang nourishment na nakukuha, yung stratum germinativum. So, saan niya kukunin yan? Doon sa blood vessels or capillaries na makikita sa papillary layer. Okay? So, nakita nyo dyan, may support ng blood supply. Because, kung saan may present na blood, meaning present din ang nutrients. Okay? So, based on its tissue structure, the dermis is divided into papillary region and reticular region. Ang reticular region natin, dyan na makikita yung mga mas malalaking blood vessels and also the hair roots. Okay? Let's proceed. Let's go to skin color. Your skin color of the skin is inherited as and results from the presence of the pigments hemoglobin and that are found, no, in dermal blood vessels and carotene in the epidermis and dermis and melanin in the epidermis. So, meron kang ang skin color daw natin. You can produce a certain type of skin color by the presence of these three pigments. Number 1 is your hemoglobin. Number 2 is the carotene. And number 3 is your melanin. Okay? So, ang hemoglobin, specifically, hindi siya talaga purely pigment because your hemoglobin is iron-containing, right? It is an iron-containing pigment of your red blood cells. So, yung iron part, ayan siya, yung hemo or heme, H-E-M-E, this is the part of the hemoglobin that contains the iron. So, yung iron kasi ang nagpo-pull, no, ng oxygen and carbon dioxide. So, but still, color red, no, it gives red pigment to your red blood cells. Kaya nga, kung marami ka, kung you have plenty of blood, no, meron kasi tayong may anemia. Kapag may anemia ka, you lack the red blood cells. Kaya yung mga taong may anemia, medyo pale ang skin color nila, no, maputla. Kasi meaning kulang ng red blood cell. May mga tao namang very fresh, no? Ang fresh looking kasi very pinkish ang cheeks, ang dulo ng mga daliri, ang lips very red. That means that the person is full of red blood cells. Okay? So, another pigment is your carotene. Mainly, ang napoproduce na color ng carotene is yellow. No? It provides the yellowish color of the skin. And you can see these pigments present in the epidermis at saka sa dermis. And lastly, the melanin, very sikat, lalong-lalo na sa mga tropical countries, ang melanin, because the more UV rays or the more you are exposed to UV rays, the more na maraming mapoproduce na melanin, and it causes your skin to go dark. So the dark color helps our skin it helps our skin protect, no? It protects our skin from the UV rays. Okay? So your melanin production is stimulated by exposure to ultraviolet radiation in the sunlight. Melanin produced by melanocytes and transferred to keratinocytes protects the keratinocyte nuclei or nucleus from the damaging effects of the UV radiation. Kaya nga sabi nila, kapag gusto mo ng very soft, smooth skin, wag magpainit under the sun, no? Kasi the more na maraming UV rays or UV radiation ang nare-receive ng skin mo, namamatay yung mga keratinocytes. And yung keratinocytes natin ang nagpo-produce ng keratin. Okay? The keratin makes our skin soft and elastic. So, kapag namatay yung mga keratinocytes, wala nang magpo-produce ng keratin. So, ang mangyayari, magiging old-looking yung skin mo. Hindi na siya smooth and bouncy. Okay? So, ayan, tinutulungan ng melanin na i-protect yung mga keratinocytes sa ating skin. So we have here different disorders that can can affect the color of the skin. Number 1 is your redness caused by erythema, okay? Or red color or erythema. This indicates embarrassment, sometimes fever, sometimes hypertension, and sometimes inflammation or allergy. So this picture, example yan siya ng allergy, namumula, nagpapantal-pantal. So ang tawag mo dyan is red or erythema. Next one is pallor or blanching. Ito na yung very pale ka na walang color ang skin. So certain types of emotional stress such as fear and anger can cause this. Anemia also, low blood pressure or impaired blood flow. Yan, can cause pale or pallor color. Next, we have jaundice, or the yellowing of our skin. No? This is caused by liver disorder. Next, you have bruises or black and blue marks. Reveal sites where blood has escaped from the circulation. Unusual tendency to bruising may signify a deficiency in vitamin C and hemophilia. So, yung mga pantal-pantal, sometimes kailangang ipa-check sa doktor. Kasi ang hemophilia natin, this is a type of disorder in which the blood is not able to clot. Hindi siya, nawalan ng ability ang blood na mag-form ng clotting. So, that means that there is a lack of sufficient blood clotting protein called the heparin. Kulang ka ng protein na nagtitrigger ng blood clot. So, yan ang hemophilia. Kaya, nagkakaroon ng blue marks, black and blue marks sa body. Next, let's go to the appendages of the skin. Skin appendages derived from the epidermis include hairs, hair follicles, nails, and glands. So, ang hair muna tayo. The hair consists of keratinized epidermal cells that are formed at the base of the hair follicle. So, ito ang hair follicle natin. Ayan siya. And sa pinaka-base niya, napoproduce ang hair. Now, a typical hair has a central medulla. This one. Meron din siyang cortex that is surrounding the medulla. And an outer cuticle and root and shaft portion. So, ito ang cuticle natin, the outer layer. This is the hair shaft and this is the hair root. Okay? An arrector pili muscle, ito siya, arrector pili muscle, is attached to the side of each hair follicle at one end and to the papillary layer of the dermis at the other end. So, ang main function ng arrector pili natin is to produce goosebumps. Okay? So, kapag nag-contract yung inyong arrector pili, nangyayari, tumataas ang balahibo. So, meron din tayong muscle that can move our hairs, no, sa ating skin. Yan siya. So, goosebumps. In your hair follicles, mitosis takes place in the hair root, this one, and new cells produce keratin. They die and become part of the hair shaft. So, yung buhok po natin that are, ano na yan sila? Dead cells na yan sila. Okay? Yung buhay lang na part is a hair root. The hair shaft are composed of dead cells. Hair of the scalp provides insulation for our head, no, kapag malamig or mainit. And eyelashes keep dust out of our eyes. Nostril hairs keep dust out of our nasal cavities. So mainly ang mga buhok pang protection and insulation. Another one is the nail. So the nails are formed, no, formed of layers of heavily keratinized epidermal cells that covers the dorsal surface of the finger or toe. No, you will find your nails sa tip ng ating mga fingers and toes. The actively growing region of your nail is what you call the nail matrix. This one. Okay, yung pinakadulo sa loob. Nail protects the ends of the fingers and toes. It enables us or the fingertips to pick up small objects and also to provide efficient scratching. By the way, very important po ang scratching. Okay, so you will not be able to pick up small objects kapag wala kang kuko. So have you ever tried cutting your nails too short? And then after cutting your nails too short, para kang alien, no? Hindi mo may something sa kamay mo, parang hindi siya nagpo-function ng mabuti. So, please don't cut your nails to the extreme level because nails are very important. Okay. Another one are the skin glands. There are 3 types of skin glands. You have the sebaceous for the sebum, sudoriferous for the sweat, and ceruminous for the cerumen or earwax. Sebaceous glands secrete the sebum into the hair follicles or to the surface of the skin. And sebum inhibits the growth of bacteria and prevents drying of skin and hair. So, ang sebum natin, it keeps our skin and hair soft and smooth. Okay, another one, sudoriferous sweat glands. So, meron kang dalawang klase. Number 1 is the apocrine sweat glands. So, saan ito sila makita? No? When you say apocrine class, meron siyang kakambal na smell. Okay, yung apocrine sweat glands ninyo, ang nilalabas niya na sweat will have a certain type of scent. Okay? So, saan ito makita? Number 1, sa axilla or axilla, sa armpit. Okay? Ang armpit natin, ang sweat glands na makikita dyan is the apocrine. Kaya nga, medyo minsan nagkakaroon ng body odor. Okay? And then also, meron ding ang mga sweat glands sa genital area are also apocrine sweat glands. So, sometimes, may mga tao na when they are stressed or they experience something that is not really good, hindi magandang situation, nagkakaroon ng changes in emotions, and the stress and changes in emotions affect the scent that is released from the apocrine sweat glands. May mga tao na kapag na-stress, nagpo-produce ng body odor. Okay? And that is actually genetics, no? Nasa genetics na rin yan siya. So, some people are not able to control how they smell. That's why, kaya nga meron tayong mga ginagamit ng mga sabon, deodorant, so that we can minimize. Okay? Meron namang mga taong swerte, kahit anong activity ang ginagawa, hindi sila nagpo-produce ng specific type of smell or bad odor. And that talks about genetics also. Depende na lang sa genetics na nakuha mo. And sometimes, hygiene also play a role. Okay, so, wag nating isisi lahat sa genetics. Baka, may something din sa hygiene ng individual. Okay? Okay, eccrine sweat glands are the second type of sweat glands, no? They are most numerous sa mga face, sa palms and soles of the feet. Activated by high external temperature or exercise, sweat on the skin surface is evaporated by excess body heat, and potential disadvantage is dehydration. Excretion of small amounts of NaCl or your salt and urea is a very minor function. So, ito na yung normal sweat, the sweat that is coming out from your skin when you do extreme exercise or activities. Okay? Next, we have ceruminous glands that are modified sweat glands that secrete cerumen or earwax in the ear canals. Your cerumen prevents drying of the eardrum. Again, ang eardrums natin kailangan flexible. Okay, because it receives sound waves. So, dapat flexible siya. Hindi siya pwedeng maging dry, no? Dapat, so, it needs an oily substance or a wax to maintain its elasticity. So, dyan tumutulong yung ating earwax. Okay, next. So, we are on the last part of this chapter. Disorders of the skin. So, may dalawang types tayo, the infectious disorders and the, ano nga yung tawag sa isa natin? Infectious and non-infectious. Okay, so unahin natin yung mga nakakahawang mga disorders ng mga skin. Number 1 is acne. Okay? This is a chronic skin disorder. When you say chronic, it is parang nawawala, bumabalik. No? It takes longer to heal. And it comes back if not controlled. Chronic disorder characterized by plugged hair follicles or pwedeng na-block yung hair follicles ninyo that often form pimples or pustules due to infection of certain bacteria. Now, acne can be caused by bacteria with lack of hygiene. It can also be caused by changes in hormones or hormone imbalance. Now, people with PCOS or polycystic ovarian disorder can actually experience acne. Kahit na anong gamot pa na tawag dito na mga antibacterial, no, kasi ang mostly kapag nakakita ang isang normal na tao ng acne, ang iniisip agad is damak yung may acne, and also hindi naglilinis ng muka. That in some cases, kahit ano pang antibacterial yung ginagamit ng nagamot ng isang tao, kung meron siyang hormonal disorder, the acne will not really go away. Okay? So, ang acne hindi lang siya caused by infection of a certain type of bacteria. It can also be caused by hormones. So, this actually, yung mga hormones, karaniwan meron yan sa females. So, infectious ang acne kasi nga kapag merong mga pustules, merong pus, no, na namumuo doon sa balat, dapat always siyang nililinis. Tapos, kasi kapag yung pus na yan napunta or napahid sa ibang tao, no, it might also cause bacterial infection in that person. So, it just depends kung ano yung cause ng acne mo. Acne can be caused by hormone imbalance, pwedeng sa bacteria, pwede ring sa food na kinakain ng tao, sa diet. Okay? Next one is your athlete's foot. So, ito siya tinawag na athlete's foot kasi nga karaniwan ang mga tao na nagkakaroon nito ay mga athletes. Okay? So, this is slightly contagious infection caused by a fungus growing on the skin. So, ang athletes natin, usually very active sila. So, hindi natin maiwasan na ang kanilang feet is always nasa loob ng shoes or rubber shoes and moist. Kung saan may something na moist, may tutubo din na fungi, no, fungus. So, kailangan ninyo dito ng antifungal medication. Another one is your boils. So, ito siya acute, no, meaning hindi hindi siya pang matagalan na sakit, pero once na nangyari siya, very extreme. It needs immediate medication. So, boils are painful infections caused by Staphylococcus bacteria. And it targets the hair follicles and their sebaceous glands as well as the surrounding dermis and subcutaneous tissue. So, yung infection na kinakos ng boils, hindi lang sa isang hair follicle, medyo malaki yung range niya kasama ang mga dermis and subcutaneous tissue. Kaya nga, tinawag siyang boil kasi sobrang laki niya and puno siya ng pus sa loob. Okay? So, the union of several boils is what you call carbuncle. Kapag marami na, no, dikit-dikit sila. So, carbuncle. Very painful yan siya. Next, we have impetigo is a highly contagious skin infection caused by bacteria, and it is characterized by fluid-filled pustules that rupture, forming a yellow crust over the infected area. I myself have not yet encountered this type of infection. Wala pa rin ako nakakita, but this is the appearance of the infection. Okay. Next, we have warts. These are small skin tumors that have normal skin color. These are caused by virus infection that stimulates excessive growth of epithelial tissue or epithelial cells. So, hindi lang natin napansin, but actually yung mga warts, no, especially sa leeg, sa chest, no, in other areas, those are caused by viruses. So ano siya, kapag yung isang family member is may warts, most likely mahahawa kayo kasi nasa isang bahay lang kayo, lalong-lalo na if you share one bed, you share one towel, no, or pamunas. So, madaling makahawa ito siya. So, kaya nga ang warts natin dumadami. Siguro sa first year, isa lang siya. Sunod year, naging 3 na. It multiplies. Kaya nga pinapatanggal yan sa mga clinic, dermatological clinics, no? We actually have different types of clinics here in Cotabato na. So, medyo dumami na sila. Na pwede ninyong bayaran para tanggalin ang warts. Medyo may kamahalan nga lang. Okay? Next, we have non-infectious disorders. You have bed sores. Ang bed sores natin usually nakikita sa mga hospital patients. Lalong-lalo na yung mga bedridden. Okay? So, you also call this as the cubitus ulcers. They result from chronic deficiency of blood circulation in the dermis and layers in the hypodermis. So, kapag wala masyadong blood circulation doon sa certain part of the skin of a person, nagkakaroon ng bed sores. This is usually formed over bones that are subjected to prolonged pressure against the bed or cast. These are common in bedridden patients. Kaya nga, bed sores. Kasi, napo-form siya sa mga bedridden na mga patients. Kaya nga, when you are a caregiver or maybe a nurse, tinuturuan na in parts of a day, dapat ginagalaw muna yung patient, no? Pinapa-roll over siya para lang magkaroon ng blood flow in the body. Or minsan, minamassage yung certain parts of the body. Okay, next is alopecia or hair loss. This is most common in males and heritable, no? Pwede siyang ma-inherit. Kapag may lahi kayong may alopecia, malamang ganun ka rin. But they may result also from poor nutrition, sensitivity to drugs, and eczema. Pwede rin itong sa stress. Kapag sobrang stress ng isang tao, napapabilis yung pagtanggalan ng kanilang buhok. Next, blisters. So, ito siya sa paso, no? This happens when the epidermis is able to separate from the underlying dermis. So, kapag nagkakaroon ka ng blisters, there is fluid, no, collected inside the blister. So, fluid-filled packet siya. Ayan. So, pwedeng burn, pwedeng sa abrasion, pwede ring injury, any type, no? Pero ang usually, ang nangyayari ito siya galing sa paso. Napaso ka. Pwede ring nakuskus yung balat mo, no? For example, masikip ang sapatos, you will form blisters on the back, no, of your feet. Next, we have callus. So, localized build-up of stratum corneum, meaning hindi na namumuo lang yung mga dead cells, hindi sila natatanggal. Kaya nagkakaroon ng pagkapal, no, ng layer ng skin. Kasi nga hindi natatanggal yung dead cells. So, you can find this on the palms, the soles, due to excessive friction. So, those are the different disorders and the end also of our chapter number 5. I hope na mag-take down notes kayo. Most of my examinations are coming from the additional informations I am giving. So, dapat meron kayong notebook and paper na katabi every time na may discussion, especially in video discussions. So, thank you everyone for watching. We will continue. I still don't know kung anong coverage ng prelim, kung makaabot ba tayo sa muscles or hanggang skeletal system lang tayo. But anyway, salamat sa panonood and stay happy and beautiful and handsome. Okay? So that's all. Goodbye.